Situational management theory was developed over several stages. In its basic form, it was developed in a collaboration between two Americans, namely behavioural researcher Paul Hersey and PhD in leadership Kenneth Blanchard. They developed the theory while working on the book Management of Organizational Behavior. The theory was introduced in 1969 as life cycle theory of leadership. During the mid-1970s, the theory was renamed Situational Leadership Theory. In the late 1970s, early 1980s, Hersey and Blanchard both developed their own slightly divergent versions of the situational leadership theory. In 1985, Kenneth Blanchard introduced Situational Leadership 2, also called the SL2 theory, in the book A Situational Approach to Managing People. The starting point for the review is this edition. The theory is about leadership and not management. Therefore, the person in charge in this theory is called a leader and not a manager. The purpose of the theory is to make it easier for the leader to choose the right leadership style in relation to the individual employee. Effective leadership lies in matching the appropriate leadership style to the individual employee's need for guidance and support to achieve a specific goal or solve a task. The starting point for the leader's choice of leadership style must always be the individual employee's need for leadership. The leadership style towards the individual employee can therefore vary over time. SL2 theory consists of two approaches. In the upper part of the model, there is a matrix with 4 leadership styles. According to the theory, the leader must choose one of these 4 styles. In the bottom of the model, there are 4 development levels. According to the model, the employee is placed in one of the levels. We will review one approach at a time. The first part of the review is the matrix with the 4 leadership styles in the upper part of the model. There are 2 basic leadership style behaviours. Directive behaviour on the horizontal x-axis and supportive behaviour on the vertical y-axis. In directive behaviour, the leader is telling and showing the employee what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and providing frequent feedback on results. It is very much about one-way communication from the leader to the employee. In supportive behaviour, the leader takes on a different role. The leader supports, performs active listening, involves and facilitates the employee to make decisions himself, and the leader provides constructive feedback. The leader helps the employee to become an active part in the decision-making process. This is a two-way communication where the leader involves the employee. Both dimensions are going from low to high. This 2x2 matrix contains 4 leadership styles. Each style is reviewed in the following sections. Style 1, Directing, consists of high directive behaviour and low supportive behaviour. The leader provides specific direction about goals, shows and tells how, and closely tracks the individual's performance in order to provide frequent feedback on results. Style 2, Coaching, consists of high directive behaviour and high supportive behaviour. The leader explains why, solicits suggestions, encourages, and continues to direct goal or task accomplishment. Style 3, supporting, consists of low directive behavior and high supportive behavior. The leader and the employee make decisions together. The role of the leader is to facilitate, listen, draw out, encourage and support. Style 4, delegating, consists of low directive behavior and low supportive behavior. The employee makes most of the decisions about what, how and when. The role of the leader is to value the individual's contributions and support his or her growth. According to the theory, the leader has 4 possible leadership styles to choose from. In all 4 styles, the leader is responsible for setting the goals, staying connected with the employee, and giving feedback. The optimal use of the 4 leadership styles depends on the employee's level of development. We will now review the second approach of the theory, the 4 development levels at the bottom of the model. The individual employee is placed in one of these 4 levels. The development level of the individual employee is determined by the employee's experience with the task and the motivation to solve the task. The scale of the development goes from right to left, from developing to developed. The development level is a combination of 2 factors: the competence of the employee and the commitment of the employee. The 2 factors are reviewed in the following sections. Competence. The employee's demonstrated task-specific and transferable knowledge and skills on a goal or task. And commitment. The individual's motivation and confidence on a goal or task. There are 4 development levels. Development level is goal or task specific. It is not an overall rating of the individual's skills or attitude. The levels are reviewed now from developing to developed, that is from right to left. Development level 1. The employee is enthusiastic. The employee has low competence. The employee is new to the goal or task and is therefore inexperienced. The employee doesn't know what he or she does not know. The employee has high commitment. The employee is excited and eager to learn. The employee is confident learning won't be difficult. Development level 2. The employee is a disillusioned learner. The employee has low to middling competence. The employee has some knowledge and skills. The employee is learning but not competent yet. The employee has inconsistent performance and progress. The employee has a low commitment. The employee is discouraged and frustrated, maybe ready to quit. The employee is overwhelmed, demotivated, confused and concerned. The employee is afraid of making mistakes. Development level 3. The employee is a capable but cautious contributor. The employee has moderate to high competence. The employee demonstrates competence and experience. The employee makes productive contributions. The employee is generally skillful and adept. The employee has variable commitment. The employee is sometimes hesitant. The employee is not always confident and has a tendency of being self-critical. the employee may also be bored or apathetic. Development Level 4. The employee is a self-reliant achiever. The employee has high competence. The employee is consistently competent. The employee is recognized by others as an expert. The employee has high commitment. The employee is autonomous. The employee is self-assured and justifiably confident. The employee is inspired and inspires others. The competence and the commitment of the employee in relation to the task or goal determine into which of the 4 levels of development the employee is placed. We will now review the connection between the 2 approaches, the development levels of the employee, and the 4 leadership styles the leader can choose between. The leader must assess the employee's placement in one of the 4 levels of development, and then choose the leadership style that suits the individual employee. We now look at the model as a unit and explain what leadership style is the optimal choice in connection with the employee's level of development. There are 4 ideal matches between the employee's level of development and the leadership style the leader should choose. These matches are reviewed as follows. The employee is at development level D1, low competence and high commitment. The leader must, therefore, use the directing leader style S1, high directive behaviour and low supportive behaviour. The leader must help the employee to achieve the competencies needed for the job, but the leader does not need to motivate the employee. The employee is highly committed by himself. The employee is at development level D2, low to some competence and low commitment. The leader must, therefore, use the coaching leadership style S2, high directive behaviour and high supportive behaviour. The leader must train the employee's professional ability to solve the task, as well as motivate the employee to want to solve the task. It can require a great deal of effort on the part of the leader, especially if there are more employees at this particular development level. The employee is at development level D3, moderate to high competence and variable commitment. The leader must therefore use the supporting leadership style S3, low directive behaviour and high supportive behaviour. The leader knows that the employee can solve the task, but the employee is a little unsure of his or her own ability to solve the task. The leader must therefore support the employee to build confidence in solving the task. The employee is at development level D4, high competence and high commitment. The leader must therefore use the delegating leadership style S4, low directive behaviour and low supportive behaviour. The employee can solve the task and is keen to solve it. The employee is the expert in this field, and the employee and the leader know this. The leader must therefore delegate the task to the employee and give the employee a free hand to solve it. If the leader judges the development level of the individual employee incorrectly, or is unable to exhibit the right leadership style, a mismatch situation occurs. There are 2 types of mismatch. One is over-supervision. Here, the leader will exhibit much more directive behaviour or supportive behaviour than the employee needs. An S1, S2 and S3 leadership style are all three a mismatch towards an employee at D4 development level. S1 is too much directive behaviour. S3 is too much supportive behaviour. And S2 is both too much directive and supportive behaviour. The employee at D4 development level will feel that the leader does not believe that the employee is motivated for the task when the leader shows too much supportive behaviour. The employee will feel that his expertise is underestimated by too much directive behaviour. The other is under supervision. Here, the leader will exhibit too little directive behaviour and supportive behaviour compared to the needs of the employee. An S4 leadership style toward an employee who is placed in either the D1, the D2 or the D3 development level is a case of under supervision. The S4 leadership style towards an employee placed at D1 development level lacks directive behaviour. An S4 leadership style towards the D3 development level lacks supportive behaviour. And S4 leadership style towards D2 development level lacks both directive behaviour and supportive behaviour. In the absence of directive behaviour from the leader, the employee lacks knowledge of what to do to fulfill the task. And in the absence of supportive behaviour, the employee is not motivated enough by the leader. In the model, there are a total of 16 combinations between leadership styles and development levels. Of these, 4 are a correct match and the other 12 are mismatches. As a leader, you can use the model to match your leadership style with each of your employees' needs for leadership. You must be aware that an employee continuously moves in the model, depending on which task or goal you set for the employee. There is no best leadership style. It depends on the situation. We shall now review an example of the use of the SL2 theory. You, as a leader, hire a new employee. He has just finished his education. It is your responsibility to develop a good employee in the long run. The employee is pleased to get a job and therefore very motivated. The employee does not consider it difficult to acquire the necessary skills for the job. Therefore, you judge him to be at development level D1 and choose the leadership style S1, where you direct the employee. You give direction about what, how and when. You also check in frequently about the progress of the task. After a while, you notice that the employee is a little frustrated that it takes much longer to understand the systems and tasks of the company than the employee had imagined. You re-evaluate the level of development of the employee to D2. Competence is higher than in the beginning, but the motivation has dropped a lot. You therefore choose leadership style S2, where you coach the employee. You explain why and involve the employee in problem solving. You redirect and reteach. You follow the employee closely for a while and you can see that the employee understands a lot more than at first, but lacks a great deal of confidence. Therefore, you now evaluate him to the level of development D3. You therefore select leadership style S3, where you support the employee. You become more responsive and supportive of the choices the employee makes. You ask the employee for input about what and how. You help to build confidence. A little further in the process, you find that the employee no longer consults you and is confident in his choices. The employee has gained more confidence, and the employee's selection of solutions impresses you. You now see the employee as being at development level D4. You therefore choose leadership style S4. You delegate more competence and responsibility to the employee. You recognize the employee's expertise and use the employee for difficult tasks so that the employee is challenged and not bored. As a leader, you must implement a new software system. Here, you can easily be in the situation that your employee is placed at development level D4, moves to level D1, D2 or D3. You need to identify the new development level and then change your leadership style towards the employee. It is a never-ending story. Let us now consider a criticism of the model. It is expected that it is always possible to place an employee at one of the 4 levels of development. If conditions in the organization or the surroundings change very quickly, this can be difficult. The theory does not take into account that an employee works with multiple tasks and goals at the same time, and therefore can be at more than one level of development at the same time. The theory does not take into account that employees are different and express their lack of competence or commitment differently. The theory does not question whether the leader is capable of leading in all 4 leadership styles. The theory is an excellent tool for the leader who would like to perform situational leadership. It provides a quick overview of the employee's level of development and thus the ability to continuously adapt the leadership style to the individual employee.